It's all good.
Okay, we're going. Welcome back to the Get Bumped podcast, Ep.2. We actually made it another week, guys. Congratulations. And the whole gang is here. The whole gang is here, and you can also hear all of us. So that's a great
They could
thing.
hear all of us last time.
Yeah,
All
but
of us were here, I think.
we didn't have Ryan here. Ryan Cole, everybody.
Gentlemen.
With the racer hat, and so we had him on the very first episode, the one that didn't actually make it to air, and he gave us his rig tour and things like that, but nobody saw any of that, unfortunately. Big tear. So give us a quick intro again for you, Ryan, so everybody knows who you are.
Ryan, obviously. I was in the college program with all you guys. I think you guys got that in the first episode.
Yeah.
I'm more of an IndyCar open wheel fan compared to most of you. I mean, I grew up as a NASCAR fan, but have progressed to IndyCar and Formula One.
Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, Fred Nando Alonso.
Oh, yeah.
That's my
My
favorite
driver. Favorite driver in IndyCar is obviously Alexander Rossi. Elbows out. Just
Rip.
awesome guy. Favorite Formula One driver. Don't really have a favorite Formula One driver, honestly.
Okay.
But the Formula One Drive to Survive series on Netflix is awesome. I'd recommend that for anyone. And if I had a NASCAR driver that I really liked, I used to love Greg Biffle, but the
Won a
Biff
truck
ain't
race.
the Biff isn't racing anymore, but he won a race this year, so that was the highlight of my season so far.
Awesome. So I just want to remind everybody how amazing it is that we're able to all commune together for this series. Because listen, we've got a dude from Florida, we got a dude from Iowa, we got a dude from Illinois, we got a dude from Minnesota, and I'm from Tennessee, and we're all able to talk together, and technology is amazing. So with that out of the way, the IndyCar Championship for 2019 has settled, and Joseph Newgarden is your two-time NTT IndyCar Series champion.
Congrats to him.
Within 3 years, and he won it from an 8th place finish. Doing what he had to do. He had Mr. Cindric in his ear, advising him where he needed to stay and stuff like that. And the emotions really did run high when he made the victory lane. And but I think also another equally big story from the weekend was, of course, the track itself, Laguna Seca. And I didn't realize how huge of a downhill descent you take after the corkscrew. I mean, they literally said during the practices that don't even worry about towing them back if they spin past the corkscrew, because they can literally just ride their way down in neutral. And I thought that was pretty cool. But Colton Herta winning his second win of his young rookie career, only 19 years old, and 3 poles on the season. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And he's going to be moving to a 5th Andretti installment in 2020. And I know that's got to make the Rossi fan in the room happy? Question mark?
I don't know about happy. I'd say a little bit nervous.
Nervous?
Considering how well Colton has been doing for his first season.
Yeah.
I know for statistically, Colton Herta joins Sebastian Bourdais and Juan Pablo Montoya and someone from kart in like 2007. But
Did you get that from David Land?
Yeah, maybe. Joins Juan Pablo Montoya and Sebastian Bourdais as rookies to win 2 races in their first season.
Right.
Didn't Juan Pablo Montoya have more?
I think Nigel Mansell had more too. Had won multiple races his first season too. So.
Yeah.
But still, to win multiple races with how competitive IndyCar is nowadays. Oh,
there you go. Yeah, he told me he was
yeah.
gonna pull the switch.
It was a little late.
Yeah,
but
very. I was thinking, when is it gonna come? When is he trying to make this
it.
move?
I
There it
forgot
goes. Sure enough. All right.
Yeah, but for her to win multiple IndyCar races with how competitive the sport is right now, and just how, like, I know Will Powers has said it this year, the competition levels are as high as they've ever been.
Never
It's
been
really
higher.
hard to win an IndyCar race. And the fact that Herta was able to win not one, but two is awesome. I think this kind of solidifies his Coda win because people were kind of like, well, he wouldn't have won Coda if Power didn't break his transmission. Rossi didn't get caught out on that caution, but
Right.
I think this kind of solidifies
no
it.
question now. He knows how to stay up front
yeah.
and manage the tires and get out of pit road at just the right time. And yeah, it was really interesting to watch. The exit at Laguna Seca goes around the Andretti hairpin, and it kind of cuts way shorter than the actual track. And that was probably the most interesting fight off of passing during about mid race, was watching guys get out of their fuel cycle, coming out of pit road, and either maintaining their position or getting past.
Yeah,
I thought this was a good redemption from Zanardi passing Herta at the corkscrew. Yeah,
Passing the grass or the dirt or the desert dirt.
Yeah, some good redemption for Herta family.
Yeah, they Lee Diffie was quick to point out that would not, under today's IndyCar rules, would never count as a win. He would be definitely penalized. But it wasn't a rule then, so it completely fair and square from Alex Zanardi back in the day.
It was that drivers like Felix Rosenquist pass like that and not run into someone.
He did something similar. It wasn't exactly, but he did get all around people in the corkscrew.
He did
rookie, twice, and rookie of the year at that. So the second Ganassi installment is rookie of the year, and almost won a couple of races here and there if it hadn't been for some things. And he actually got really cheated in qualifying. He spun before he got into the corkscrew, had already 2 good laps put in. He was the fastest in the field at that point. And IndyCar officials said he got in front of another guy's qualifying run. And so they took all of his times away and everything like that. And that really got under his skin. I think that all the more helped him find that fire he needed to really show off at the last race of the season.
Yeah, I don't know if Colton would have won it if Rosenquist would have got pole.
Yeah,
or
absolutely. It would have been a battle. Yeah, battle of the rookies, and definitely for rookie of the year would have been still in contention. The third rookie to talk about, Santucci Ferrucci, actually had the first time he's actually had any wreck in a race at the last race. Yeah, he's been pretty clean this entire season. Made a lot of really phenomenal saves. You look back at Pocono and the Indianapolis 500, of course, and just a lot of really gutsy saves, just getting out of the way, being in the right place at the right time. I think a lot of that has to do with luck, but a lot of it with just sheer driving prowess and a lot of potential behind Santino Ferrucci.
Optimist.
How did he crash? I was napping in and out of the first half.
Yeah, I was finding it hard to stay awake, and that's not because it wasn't an interesting race.
Yeah,
I was just tired.
I was just really tired.
I was in a dark room. I was laying back. I was like, oh.
So, from what Santino did say on his interview after the wreck on the restart, because this crash happened on the restart after, I believe, what was it? Marco Andretti and Connor Daly got into it. On the restart, Ferrucci forgot to reset his brake ballast on the setup on his car. So his car had a really high front end brake ballast. So going into turn 2, the Andretti hairpin, he locked up his car, and as soon as he knew that he was going straight, he just decided to, he knew he was going to hit Sato.
Right,
so he said, if I'm going to hit him, I'm just going to hit him as clean as I can. And which for a rookie, that was kind of a smart heads up move. He knew he was going to take out Sato, and he couldn't really do anything about that. So he tried to get him as clean as he could.
Right. I heard that interview. I just didn't see it happen.
Which was a heads up move. And fortunately for Santucci, he did not end up taking Sato out of the race and crashing him out.
Yeah,
because that would have definitely caused some sparks. But he ended up taking himself out in the wreck, which was
good guy Ferrucci.
Good. I don't know about that.
No.
He has impressed me this year. the IndyCar rookies this year in general have been
a great class.
Probably the best class of rookies that we have seen since. Probably the best class of rookies ever, because it's just like there hasn't been
Ever.
3 rookies coming out at the same year, and like all of them have a chance to probably win a race. Because Rosenquist could have won Mid Ohio. Yeah.
But like,
It has won twice. Rosenquist could have won Mid Ohio, and Ferrucci could have won Gateway if caution didn't come out.
But like, Wes, I'm so glad we grabbed these hats when we did, because this dude's gonna go places, and I'm so glad that we like found his rookie stuff when it was still there, still available.
And now this team's not even gonna be there. It's gonna be named something else.
Well, there's still going to be. I mean, Harding Steinbrenner's apparently Harding Steinbrenner's still going to be just as part of that 5th installment of Andretti as ever. But
Andretti up here somewhere.
Yeah.
I believe the only thing that they're doing to that team is they're adding an Andretti in front of the team name.
Yeah,
it's really annoying me. All these acronyms that are getting longer and longer.
Yeah, I know.
These team names, they just need to like rename. At what point do you stop just adding all the words and just rename the team?
All the investors want their names on the team, though.
Harding, Steinbrenner, Arrow, McLaren. They're all going to be They're all going to be one super team eventually when they all conglomerate together. It's like corporate America. They just they're all just going to combine.
We should make it like elementary school, like flag football teams, where you just have to make something up, like the Spiders or the Skeletons.
I was in that group.
Every race, they have to make a new name.
I was in that group of kids that like was not cool enough to be in Foursquare at the elementary recess. So this is what we did. We moved over to the other part of the sidewalk and we created a new game called Three Square. Because it was different than Foursquare, and they couldn't play.
So I wasn't cool enough to play in the main Foursquare court, but in the back, like we had like by the doors, there was a Foursquare.
The losers Foursquare.
And then there was like a blacktop area that was really far away.
Yeah.
That had like basketball hoops and stuff, and there was like
next to the teachers.
No.
Oh no!
Far away from the teachers. This was like as far away from the school as you could go, and there was big Foursquares. Like each square was like the size of like a whole Foursquare court. So we played big Foursquare, and it was much cooler. So.
Well, I apologize for getting too far off topic. I want to get into NASCAR before Brian has to leave us. Yeah, a little off topic. Gotcha. Yeah. Let's go into NASCAR before people have to go. So NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. going back to back at Richmond, locking himself, of course. You like that? Go ahead and tell us, Brian.
I like that.
I mean, I appreciate that.
I've been a fan of Truex since his Busch Series days in like 2004, 2005. I think it's cool how both like Truex and Busch were like fighting for the championship, like all the way down like that far ago, and they're still fighting for the championship.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
pretty cool.
I picked him on this podcast to be the champion, so
you should did. I would have picked him if you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Who's your pick?
Yeah. So Ryan, we picked who we thought the champion would be last episode, and we picked who we thought you would pick, and Wes is like, no, he gets the bottom of the barrel. He's not here. He doesn't get to choose. So who did you end up giving him, Wes?
Well, I thought I was looking at Kurt Busch's name, but I was looking at Kyle Busch.
Oh, I thought he was like, well, he gets Kurt Busch.
Yeah,
but Ryan, who do you actually pick?
I mean, I really can't pick it down to one driver, but like a championship four,
he had to.
You're probably gonna get 2 or 3 Joe Gibbs drivers and Kevin Harvick and maybe a Penske driver. When it comes down to the final race, like if Larson somehow sneaks his way into Homestead, we know he's gonna probably be the favorite after that. Really, you can't really tell who the champion is going to be till you get to the round of 8. And pretty much it's like after the playoff system 2 or 3 times, it's been whoever wins Martinsville is pretty much
advantage
to win the championship.
All right, so who's going to win Martinsville? Is the question.
And pardon my language, but this is in context. I don't think Martin Truex is going to let anyone win the damn war this year.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's okay. It's a quote. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's had a really strong opening right now. Looking at the playoff points with the wins he's racked up, the 2 wins he's racked up, he's at 41 playoff points, which is only second to Kyle Busch. So if he wins another race, he has the same amount of playoff points as Kyle Busch. So I think if you're any of those championship favorites, it's racking up as many playoff points as you can get before the round of 8. Which I think Truex has figured that out, and he's like, I just got to win as many races as I can, because I think getting that insurance going into the round of 8 seems very crucial. I think Truex knows how to use the playoff points.
Yeah. So I'm
All
from
right,
this.
guys. So I got here late, I know, but I'm not supposed to leave early. I'm gonna have to start ending that now. I just want to say real fast that I think the Roval and the way that the point situation is playing out this year, it's going to be more intense than any other playoff race that we're going to see.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm hoping that Byron and Bowman can pull it off and get in.
Okay.
But Newman looks like he's going to get in too, and I'm pretty happy about that because he
Yeah.
that's going to be pretty cool to see. I'm going to pick Kozlowski for the Roval race, and I want to also mention for F1 that I'm really happy Ferrari is fighting back now. So I'm going to head out, guys. Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching.
Always
guys.
a pleasure to have you here, Brian.
See you.
Thanks for
All
joining
right.
us again.
See ya.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you, man. Okay, so Truex Jr., Harvick, and Kyle Busch are now locked in to the round of 12. So from what I took from what you were saying, Ryan, I believe you think Truex is your pick. Is that?
He's definitely. I think.
I mean, there's nothing to lose here. You have nothing at stake. It's just
he's a really big with how he's performed in the mile and halves. With his drive at Las Vegas, it's looking more likely.
It's like Homestead would be a walk in the park.
Favorite.
Yeah.
But it kind of matters who gets into the championship for, because you never know. Logano last year just came out of nowhere and slapped Truex out of the way and won the damn war. So,
but correct me if I'm wrong. This will be the last season finale at Homestead. Is the from the news earlier this year that the schedule will finally make a slight adjustment next year where it will end at ISM.
Yeah.
So as of now, they might change that going back into 2021, because apparently 2021, the track sanctioning agreement, which was like the 5-year deal that the tracks all signed, ends next year. So 2021 will be a very big year for NASCAR, considering I believe they're thinking about introducing the Gen 7 for that season.
Yeah,
it's either that or 2022.
But
in 2021, the schedule is going to be wide open where they can go wherever they want.
Yeah,
because they're not locked down by that sanctioning agreement. So that means that we could possibly get like Gateway or Iowa.
That'd be great. That'd be
even get
so
Rockingham
great.
back on the schedule. Like
Heck
2021 is very wide open.
And like Martinsville get a night race on its calendar. Bristol will lose its spring visit, which has been severely lacking.
Well, Martinsville will have a night race next year for Mother's Day weekend, because they're moving that race to Mother's Day, which is going to be.
That's a great treat for all mothers.
It's a great treat for all. Well, it's going to be on a Saturday night, so
all mothers who care.
I think having a night race, like the fact that they had the Mother's Day weekend race at like Kansas, I didn't really like. I liked that they used to have the Mother's Day weekend race on. It was like a night race in the South, either Richmond or Darlington, and those races were always awesome.
So in the daytime, you get your mom a little flower for her lapel pin for Sunday service, and then at night you go watch the short track race at Richmond. Yeah, good times.
So the Martinsville night race, I think, is probably going to be almost as hyped as the Roval, maybe a little bit less, but it's going to be a very, very hyped up race. So it's going to add some excitement for that part of the season.
So the Roval next Sunday is going to be insane again. And I definitely appreciate the fact that how big of a wild card it is. Despite the three guys that are locked in, it's really gonna make or break these people's chances that are fighting on the cutoff line. And if Ryan Newman or Eric Jones can pull off something, or William Byron, as Ryan was saying, it's going to be one of those races we remember. But I really think Martin Truex Jr. showed a ton of strength last year at the Roval, and I don't think that back chicane changing is going to change how well he's able to perform. And if he was saying he hopes Brad Keselowski will win, and Brad's the one that launched into the Tums turn one and had that classic. Boom.
Yeah. Well, we do have to think back to the Roval from last year. I mean, it depends on how much the chicane really throws everyone off.
Right.
William Byron said it might be a passing zone.
Yeah,
when he
it
was
makes
interviewed
that
about
a
it.
passing zone, but it
Yeah.
also completely changes the complexity of the final chicane to coming to the finish line because they'll be going
Changes your
slower.
speed.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
be going slower through there.
Yeah.
So maybe Jimmy Johnson doesn't have the curbs this year.
Yeah.
But
I'm definitely going to miss.
From looking at last year's race, Keselowski and Kyle Larson were both very strong at the Roval. I don't know if Larson's going to be as strong as he was last year. But to be honest, if Keselowski didn't shunt it into the heartburn turn on that late race restart, Kyle Larson looked like he was going to win that race, probably.
And Tom's got their money's worth on that sponsorship because
They
got a
definitely
ton of
did.
coverage.
Yeah,
That heartburn turn.
That's probably what they had in mind. And like the new chicane on the back is also sponsored by some kind of pharmaceutical company. It's already in the iRacing update. They've already added the new back chicane for the next week, or I guess it goes live today. The official race for it, but they've already added that in of charge. I appreciate that, but I want to do a thing on this podcast where, like, since I have iRacing and stuff, like maybe like for each new week of track, like I take us if I'm able to like show video on here, like take us a lap around the track as fast as I can, so like we can like.
Man, that's asking for Rex, dude.
No, like not live. I mean like a replay and like
okay.
So you have
show
rehearsal runs.
Yeah, so we can like talk about the different breaking points and stuff of each track. But yeah, that's just an idea for the future.
But I hear iRacing, and speaking of iRacing,
Oh wait a minute,
segue right there. Or I don't know, Donald West. You guys have any comments about NASCAR playoffs?
I think Eric Jones is in a must-win situation.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think
Yeah,
he's
look,
gonna
got
No, I don't think
penalized.
so
He
either.
got penalized
Yeah,
after
he
Richmond
really-
post race tech.
Yeah, he's done. I think. I don't think he'll.
No,
I don't think he'll make it at the Roval.
mm-mm.
Um,
Sorry. I'd
Yeah,
love to be
man.
blown away, but
Yeah, Jones is literally a must win because he's 45 points under the cut line.
yeah.
So if he would be eliminated by points, if he doesn't finish in, what was it? He gets like stage points. Basically, the stage points will determine whether he's mathematically eliminated by points, and he has to go into a must win. But I believe
know
they're
how-
going to go into a must win no matter what this year.
I don't know how long his contract goes, but if next year he doesn't make it to whatever round all the other Joe Gibbs drivers make it to, I think Christopher Bell is going to get his spot.
Yeah.
But you have to
Yeah,
say like
definitely.
the 2 rounds that he's had, like he has had a very strong running at the end of the year with the Southern 500 win,
Yeah.
and he's just had really crumb luck for the first 2 races of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like he got disqualified at Richmond, which that's his team's fault. Like he doesn't really have any say in whether his car was legal or not.
But I mean, as history shows us, like car owners, team owners aren't really that fair with bad luck. Like bad luck or not, you didn't perform. You didn't
That-
give the
didn't he
results.
I don't remember what happened at Vegas, but I think he had a problem that was out of his control.
I think it was mechanical.
Probably
Yeah, he had a mechanical
Yeah.
problem.
he just shut down on him, didn't it? Like
Yeah.
Harvick at
Didn't
Bristol.
he get stuck in second gear? Was that him?
I think so. Something like
Yeah, it might
that.
have been. It was on a restart that it happened.
Yeah.
So he probably got
Yeah,
stuck in there.
his transmission did something.
One thing I have noticed is just how unforgiving the sport is now, because it doesn't really allow anyone time to perform.
Yeah, the way that the ladder system like pushes drivers up, it's unforgiving, like you said.
It's turned into
I
more
mean-
of a machine.
I
Yeah.
think we're seeing that system kind of end, because to be honest, like the crop of really, really good drivers coming up the ladder, I think after Custer, Jones, and Reddick are in Cup, I think that kind of generation of great drivers in the lower series is going to come to an end.
Daniel Hemrick.
Oh,
With the
no.
exception of like the only
Is it right that
person
he has
coming
not
up
won
the
a
ladder-
race?
No, he's not won a race ever.
No,
He has not won a race ever, and he's in
I don't think
Cup.
he's won a
Not
late
even
model
late
race.
model race?
Not
Yeah.
yet. Well, maybe a late.
Yeah,
model
he's
race,
won a
but-
late model race. He's won
Okay.
a late
but
model.
not the top 3 series,
Yeah,
right?
he hasn't won a race.
He's
in
not
all
won a
three.
race yet.
No,
That's-
I want to see
That's
him win a race
crazy.
I
There's
want
got to be
him to win a
something
race.
else.
because he does a backflip when he wins. Apparently,
Yeah,
How do we know that? Can he
We
still
don't
do that?
know.
that's what he said.
we wouldn't
he
know
can't prove
because
it.
he hasn't
Well,
won
go
it
out,
yet.
go out there and
Um,
win.
Yeah, that's kind of sad for Hemrick considering he was given 1 year by Richard Childress, and I don't know. It's kind of sad because since Hemrick's team has figured things out, he's been constantly and consistently outperforming his teammate. But his teammate's never going to leave that team.
I know. Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about that last week, and
yeah,
that still baffles my mind, dude.
As Alex Bowman says,
Yeah.
the kid who has a silver spoon shoved up his, you know what?
Beep.
He said it. He said it right. I mean,
Yeah.
he said what everybody's thinking. Okay,
That's what everyone's thinking.
I'm excited for the Roval. It's gonna be great to talk about. Moving on, Formula One, Ryan Cole. I'm so glad we have you back on the show because you are like our critical analysis, technical data expert, and I missed that part of the show that we had for the part that didn't air. I mean, you really have like the mechanical sides of things down when it comes to discussion.
I know about
Yeah.
that.
But for
Formula One
I'm
Grand
Formula
Prix
One in Singapore.
Singapore, it has kept a 100% rating through every Singapore Grand Prix of a safety car. So basically, it's the equivalent of going to a Formula One short track because there's going to be a caution every race.
Do they say more Singapores on Formula One Twitter?
I don't know. Hashtag more Singapores.
More Singapores.
Yeah, the race was interesting. Qualifying, the whole Grand Prix weekend was interesting. At the beginning of the weekend, everyone was like, kind of thought Mercedes would have it in the bag, but all of a sudden we get to qualifying and Ferrari just slaps them, and everyone's like, where did Ferrari come from? Apparently they do have speed, so that summer break, Ferrari really did catch up with Mercedes. And it's unfortunate with how much time is left in the season, but if Vettel and Leclerc, more especially Leclerc now, can have performances like this and Hamilton stays outside the podium, the championship will get a little bit more exciting. But yeah, the results, Ferrari 1-2. Sebastian Vettel won the race. Leclerc wasn't very happy because they kind of threw an undercut at Leclerc on the pit stop exchange, which with the undercut is Vettel pitted earlier than Leclerc, got the fresher tires, and ended up passing him for the race lead before I think the safety car came out. And hearing from all the radio transmissions, Leclerc was not happy at all that he got gypped out of the win. Apparently, from what I'm seeing from Racer.com, is that there was talks about Ferrari was considering asking Vettel to give Leclerc the lead back.
Oh, what?
Wow.
Yeah, they were considering it, but Sebastian hasn't won a race in a year, or he hadn't won a race in over a year.
Yeah, I was able to watch the Radioactive from Singapore. It's well, it's the same concept. You know what I'm talking about. It's impressive. I find it fascinating how like more clear their radio transmissions are, like HD.
I think NASCAR does it just to do it. Because
Yeah,
if you
they
listen
keep
from
the low.
app. If you listen on the app, they're clear.
Really?
There's
Very
no
clear,
static
yeah.
at all. If you
get racing electronics at the track, it's probably crap just because it's 2003
Well, also, I believe
equipment.
Formula One uses digital radios, and NASCAR still uses like an older
analog. Yeah,
So
why don't
Formula
we
One
use
uses
digital?
So
I just think NASCAR does that on the broadcast to like add effects or something.
Make it sound gritty.
Yeah, because
well,
you're
also
not
the
listening
engine
to it
noises are a
live.
lot louder on the NASCAR Cup cars than.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's true.
the
Might be more.
Formula One cars. So if NASCAR
Only
switched to
solution,
V6 engines, V6 twin turbos for Gen 7, then it might sound like that.
And single lug nut wheels.
Should just go.
Right.
Should just go all electric. That's the move. That's the big move.
Eventually, I mean,
Eventually, that'll happen. Whether people
Back
yeah,
to-
it'd be nice to have Ferrari contend with the championship because from what I hear, Hamilton has really got a far stretch lead and probably needs some excitement before you get to the end.
From the standings, I believe right now, someone brought this up. If you got rid of the Mercedes drivers, the points championship would be very, very interesting because you would have right now Hamilton has 296 points in the championship, and it's 25 points for Grand Prix victory. And it's 25 down to 1 point for 10th. And then outside the top 10, you get 0 points. After that, it's Valtteri Bottas, who has 231 points.
I like his last name.
Valtteri Bottas.
Bottas.
But when you see him on the leaderboard, you see the first 3 letters of their last name, so it's just Bot. Vet.
I mean, to be honest, Valtteri might be a bot. We don't know.
Could be. He's fat. He's fast as a bot. He could be an alien.
Yeah. So Hamilton has 296. Bottas has 231. So he has a 65-point lead. So Hamilton has at least 2.5 races on Bottas, and then Leclerc is at 200 points. But this is where the championship would be really interesting if you didn't have the Mercedes drivers, because Leclerc has 200 points, Verstappen has 200 points, and Vettel has 194 points. After that, the championship's really not interesting at all because you go down to Gasly in 6th with 69 points. Nice.
It'd be interesting if someone did the math for all the Grand Prix where they took out the Mercedes cars and redistributed the points, because I wonder if it would still be that close if
the championship without Mercedes existing.
Yeah.
Or Formula 1.5.
Or an alternate universe where Mercedes never got back into racing after the big incident where they lunged into the crowd. In a world where Mercedes only makes lorry drivers. In Euro Truck Simulator 2. But I promise by next week I will do more of my homework on Formula 1 so I'm able to have an engaging conversation about it. I did watch a little bit of Singapore on Sunday, just a replay of it. And I've always been really impressed with how much better the UK does their broadcast graphics than America does. And I know, Ryan, you'd really appreciate this.
Yeah,
because you work on graphics.
Yeah, so those broadcast graphics are actually from Formula 1. Those are in-house.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
They run the whole broadcast in-house. They actually have Formula 1 TV subscription service. So you can just if you don't want to deal with ESPN or anything like that,
or Sky Sports in UK.
Yeah, or Sky Sports, you can literally just get a feed of the race where they don't have any commentary whatsoever. Wow. And you can actually customize it so you can have the race feed on one you can split screen it so you have the race feed and then you can get an onboard from any driver in the field.
Wow,
I can just imagine I can imagine a guy in a dark basement doing that with all 7 of his monitors. He's while he's practicing the race on F1 2019 on his wheel. I'm racing with them.
Because was it last year Formula 1 introduced Formula 1 TV, which I think was a game changer, at least a template for the American sports to go in the direction of. Yeah. Because now they basically have a way to get around TV, but with how American sports work, it's really almost impossible to not have a race without having any broadcaster or having any sponsors.
Yeah. That might be it. There's no sponsor clutter, but I noticed it. I said UK because not only on Formula 1, but also if you watch any of the British Premier League, the Barclays Premier League, football, their graphics are insanely high detail lit, really clean. I
And
love
speaking
it.
of that, I know NBC Sports, because technically Sky Sports is a Comcast company,
Which is
um,
NBC
which NBC
owned.
owns.
Yeah.
So I think for this year, the Premier League said for their NBC for like the US coverage that they were just going to use it's kind of like a hybrid. So it looks like NBC Sports graphics, but it also looks like Sky Sports graphics. So it looks really crisp and clean. And I was like hoping, I was like, ooh, if that's the new NBC Sports graphics package, I'm in. But I just figured out that they're just copying from Sky Sports UK. So
I really hope that new graphics package that they've been doing lately is like the way of the future for everybody else to look at as the inspiration.
Yeah.
That's from a broadcast media major enthusiast standpoint.
Yeah. It'll be
just
really-
looking at we look at those minor details. Like when you've worked behind a camera, you kind of imagine where all the cameras are at an event, and you look at everything from a different angle.
You've seen how the sausage is made.
Right, and you want to like improve that sausage.
Yeah.
I don't know why you use sausage as an analogy.
That's an expression.
Is that a Minnesota thing?
No, that's an expression.
I've heard the
Gotta-
expression before.
Okay,
Maybe it's a
okay.
Midwest thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
I
probably
had to throw my Minnesota stereotype in there at least once
Yeah,
per
why
episode.
do you do that? Come on.
I don't know.
Um,
You can make Tennessee stereo. You can call me a redneck anytime you want. You know, I'm in the South, so
I
like,
forget where you live all the time. Honestly,
it's Tennessee.
I always think it's Ohio for some reason.
No, none of us live in Ohio.
It'll be interesting to see though how IndyCar and NASCAR and maybe IMSA follow Formula One and see how successful their streaming service is. Because I know NASCAR's locked in for a few years for their TV contract,
Yep.
but IndyCar only signed a 3-year deal with NBC Sports, so
That will
I
get
mean-
extended because it's made IndyCar
I
bigger
think
than
it will
ever
be
before.
extended. But
Yeah.
I think if they're going to do it for the next season, they might just introduce like them. I know David Land brought this up, and it sounds really interesting. Which pretty much every race besides the Indy 500 would be kind of like on a streaming service. So pretty much like NBC Sports Gold. But I would be okay with that if we got the races commercial free. Like
Would they still be on TV as well, or?
I don't think they'd be on TV. I think they would just be on an app.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's a good way to get new fans, but
Yeah.
It's kind of like but like
The only way that would really work is if it's like Formula One, where you have it like you could get the F1 TV subscription, or you could just watch the races on ESPN or ESPN2.
yeah.
I really wish NASCAR would give extra exclusive coverage on like a NASCAR app. The same way Danny B Talks on YouTube mentioned the way I know they're fake. Okay, it's like entertainment, but like the way the WWE network operates with like the way they present extra content to their fans through the WWE network, which is like an extra thing. So like if you actually want to pay for all the rest of that stuff, you can have it.
Yeah.
And like, I think motorsports could go that same way, even though motorsports is actually real.
And I think like the way that really the only way that we're going to get commercial free racing is to take the Formula One playbook and bring in like the series has to have their own streaming service.
How much does that cost?
I think
Yeah, who
Formula
knows?
One streaming service for the Pro, which gets you the live races, costs like $12.99 a month.
A month?
But you also get like all the content. Like I think you can get driver radio too during the race.
Well, how am I able to watch Formula One replays on ESPN commercial free?
So the only way you can watch the Formula One races commercial free is during the live broadcast.
No, I'm
they
saying
don't
I'm able to do
commercial
that
free.
though, like right now.
Yeah, but also with the Formula, I know for Formula One TV, they have all races from like every era. They're all archived, so you can.
Oh, it's like a huge archive.
Okay.
Yeah,
It has a
that's
huge
what. That's
archive.
what. Yeah, that's what they were
Because you
talking about.
realize you
with
can't
NASCAR,
find
like,
any Formula One races on YouTube. Like
Because when that Coker dude got mad at everybody on YouTube for all these classic NASCAR races, and he was like
Mhm.
trying to take them down, like I'm doing my duty, I'm preserving
the one
the
thing
lost
that would be
art
very
in-
cool about having like a NASCAR or IndyCar
official archive,
official archive where you get the official like NASCAR broadcast,
highest
all the way,
quality,
highest
not
quality.
pirated.
all the way back to as early as they started archiving them.
Yeah.
So I'd be okay with that. And
I
also,
would even want like the '60s races
Yeah.
where like stock cars pressing the limit between machine and man. You know, like it's not
Yeah.
even showing the full race. It's just like whimsical music. You know, the Southern 500. Look at Lee Petty go. You know.
the good thing is that about the Formula One having their own streaming service was that those races were commercial free, and ESPN, I think, for the first Grand Prix in Australia, showed commercials on their race and cut out, and people were on Twitter got really pissed off because they were like, if I don't want to watch commercials, I'm just going to get the F1 streaming service. I'm not going to watch ESPN for the race coverage. And then ESPN was like, oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. And then they started streaming the races commercial free. Thankfully, they have a sponsor, and I think Mother's Polish that just kind of pays for that. Formula One coverage presented by Mother's Polish.
Yeah, Mother's.
Like
It's
car
all
polish.
over. If you look at Laguna Seca, Mother's logo is all over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that on the bridge.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Moving
to
on.
The world of video games and simulation. NASCAR Heat 4. Wes had a little gripe about something.
The road courses
you wanna-
are hard. Like, just too hard. Like, not even, like, skill hard. They're just... I don't know if I'm just bad. But, like,
Maybe it's early. Tell us in a week or two.
Well, I guess. I don't know.
Is Jefferson based off a real place?
No.
No, it's fantasy track.
No, it's
Yeah,
fake.
I'm just asking. I'm
Fantasy,
just asking.
I'll second Wes on this. I can attest from racing in NASCAR Heat 4. The thing is with the cars is that they're kind of like on a, what would you call it? A top spinner, I guess, something like that. They're
on ice.
Yeah, well, the thing is that if you turn the car too much, the car pretty much just wants to flip over. Like if you're going through a low speed corner and you're going too fast, the car will almost flip over.
That's not physics.
One of my tires comes up a lot.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
The tires will literally come up, and if you try to like press the gas, I mean, it's hard to drive, but if you like hit the gas a little bit too much, your car will just spin like it's on the top.
I
think you guys
tire one yesterday, and they got all that PJ1, and like even like it helped going around the corner. But once you got off the corner, if you were still like full throttle getting off the PJ1, you would spin.
Yeah,
like, it was weird because you'd have to lift in a straightaway to not spin, which just didn't make sense, and I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I would like just brake really early, and I just finished the race under caution eventually.
Have you raced at New Hampshire yet in Heat 4?
I have. It's all right.
Because that's a heavy PJ1 track. When I think of PJ1, I think of New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean they don't really put in the PJ1, like it doesn't really make
the sticky stuff.
Yeah, the sticky stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they kind of did that because at Bristol now in Heat 4 you can run the bottom line and run it really well. Like Bristol's a multi-groove track now, which I actually very much enjoy. But still it's still kind of a shame that Heat 4 has like not the same graphics, but the same physics as
better
NASCAR.
graphics, but same
The graphics are a step up, but the physics still feel like they're NASCAR Dirt to Daytona physics.
Yeah, the physics.
Like they feel like 2002 physics.
That's sad. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, they feel very arcadey and
Shouldn't be a AAA title then. They can't put the money into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't retail for $60.
It shouldn't be a AA title. Does it cost $60?
It costs $50.
Oh, okay.
So it's
So it's
like I bought it.
It's a AA and a half title.
Yeah, it's a AA and a half.
At least they know what it is. At least they're not trying to sell it like it's GTA 5. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems like except for iRacing and like if you had iRacing putting their physics into a NASCAR like console game, oh my god, it'd be game over for everyone else.
If you put iRacing physics into Heat 4, you would not need to use a controller.
Yeah,
it would be impossible.
It's easier to use the wheel. When I used to play Heat 3 on my friend's wheel, and I think that's easier than playing Heat 4 on a controller. But
to be honest, Heat 3 was easier on a controller. Heat 4 is a lot easier on a wheel. Like Heat 4, like I played Heat 4 on the controller and a wheel, and the wheel is a lot like the wheel
I just think it's more
settings are a lot
intuitive.
better.
You know?
Yeah,
Like
you also
when I
get
use the joystick, I have to like push it left, and then I have to like go like this a
you have to
lot. You know,
overcorrect it. Yeah,
like if I have a wheel, I can just do it in like one smooth. As long as it's calibrated right, I can get it like in a smooth turn.
yeah.
You know.
And I think on the last Heat game, the wheel wasn't really you couldn't really calibrate it, and which is kind of
It was pretty good on my friends. I think, but I don't know.
yeah. I had problems with it last year, but this
Huh.
year I don't have any problems
Okay.
with it.
Well,
Ryan, do you recommend F1 2018 or whichever one you
F1
have?
2019, very
2019.
much so. The game is very very fun.
I'll get it if it goes on sale. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna pay 60 for it, but
The
I'll
good
wait
thing
till like
about
Christmas or something if
the
I
good
really
thing about
want.
the F1 2019 game is that it's pretty much a complete game.
Yeah.
Because they have all the Formula One cars, they have a bunch of classic cars. You can
see,
race Monaco at night.
Really?
Yeah, you
That's
have
cool.
Formula 2 cars, and you can race the Formula 2 cars at every
That's awesome.
track.
That's what they need to do on.
See,
I want to run cups on Eldora or something.
Yeah.
like-
Well, I think that's the only track that you can't run the Cup cars on is Eldora, and that's
Well,
just
you
because
can't do it
there's
on
no.
any of the dirt tracks.
Yeah, I think it's just
want
because they
full
don't have
dirt
a
track cross
Cup dirt car.
cross discipline. I want
Um,
Jefferson with cup cars.
I would use a Formula One game more as like a introduction to like memorize all the drivers and tracks and like how everything operates.
Oh yeah, it's
As a new Formula One fan, like I need to like soak all that in, and that's how I did with NASCAR when I was a kid. Is like playing the games, and so I'll
Yeah,
wait till it goes on sale and give it a try.
I would say the F1 games right now are very close to how the NASCAR Thunder games were, where they're very like they also have a bunch of different championship scenarios you can do.
His career mode looks really cool.
The career mode is they definitely stepped up the career mode this year, where it's kind of more like they're telling the story.
It's like
you're part of the story.
F1, right?
Yeah, F1.
Yeah, it's like, almost like a motorsports RPG. It looks like because like they're kind of like rivaling 2K the way they're doing
because they
NBA.
Yeah, they start the series where you have what's correct. They start the series where you have
Me too,
like
dude.
your teammate and you have a rival, and you start in F2. You like it was. I liked it where you only have to do like 2 or 3. You do 3 F2 races. They give you like 2 scenarios. So you do like a scenario at Spain, you do a scenario at Austria, and
So it's
then
like flashbacks in your past career. Like
yeah, kind
you
of
have to do
you
the full
a
race.
flashback and you have like 5 laps to go or something like that,
Yeah,
and like a
like,
full length race.
You get the
It's-
backstory on why they're your rival.
Yeah, you're like, here's the scenario. You can do
That's cool.
it. Like you can let your teammate by,
Oh,
or you
choices.
can hold your position and try to go for the win in one scenario, and then the other scenario is like your rival takes your front wing off and you have to go into the pits. So
That brings
your
back, like,
objective is beat him.
the hero or villain meter on Chase for the Cup.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that one of the driver, like your rival is they did a real good job making him very unlikable. So, and
See,
then,
I read that as narcissistic or jerk because either way you look like you were dumb. Like,
yeah.
better to be neutral.
And it's also cool because at the end of the season, you can like progress to Formula One, and your teammate from F2 and your rival also go into Formula One. So 3 drivers in Formula One get like shunted at the beginning.
Is that just random or?
It depends on what teams they go. Like it depends. You can choose what team you want to go to.
Okay. And does your teammate come with you?
Your teammate goes to another team, I think.
Okay.
So like you can go to. It kind of depends on like where you want to go, because you can choose from like the Ferrari system, which is like you can go to Ferrari, Haas, or Alfa Romeo. You can go to the McLaren camp. You can go to the Red Bull camp, which includes Toro Rosso and Red Bull, or you can go to the Mercedes camp, which has like Mercedes, Force India, or Racing Point, and Williams. So
All right, so I'm going to try to conclude this here. We got iRacing to talk about some news from iRacing. Well, not from iRacing, but from anybody who listens to Dirty Mo Media and the Dale Jr. Download every week.
On Twitter.
It's been recent developments. last week and this week of Dale Jr. being very adamant about going to North Wilkesboro Speedway, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, which is also where Lowe's is from, if you guys didn't know. It's actually the original location of that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I would have known that if I wasn't a Lowe's employee at one point. But anyway, yeah, North Wilkesboro Speedway, he threw out there who would come out and de-weed. So he talked to Steve Myers, which is president of what used to be Papyrus, making the NASCAR racing season games later to form iRacing. He said, "Hey, what would it take to make North Wilkesboro scanned?" And apparently it cost a ton of money to do that kind of thing. But he was like, "Well, we need to get the
bill."
Yeah, and Junior's like, "I don't care how much it costs, man. I mean, I want this track to be preserved in history, racetrack. I want the cars, the track. I want to be preserved." That's my impression. That's all you're gonna get.
He's got
like,
more.
what does it take? And I was like, "Well, we need to get it de-weeded and stuff like that." And he was like, "Well, say no more." And so he sends out a tweet, who would come out and help me de-weed it? And he's got like friends. He's got buddies in North Wilkesboro. Like, I'll bring my mower. Shoot, I'll bring my mower out there, my weed whacker. We'll get that taken care of.
Fingers crossed that they can get this done, because that would be very awesome. To see.
All these people saying they'll come out and do it for free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, hell, if I had the money, I'd fly out to North Wilkesboro and go de-weed that place.
Yeah,
I would pick weeds with Dale Jr. at North Wilkesboro.
Man, I'd want to restore that whole place.
Immortalize it.
Yeah. I think NASCAR needs to take some cues from IndyCar, where they're going back to historic venues, such as if they could bring back Rockingham, and I don't know, this is probably going to be impossible to bring back North Wilkesboro unless Speedway Motorsports sells off all their cookie cutters. Yeah,
the backyard.
The only way I can see these tracks coming back is if NASCAR and Speedway Motorsports all decide, hey, we're gonna sell our cookie cutter tracks and just pretend that era never happened, and we'll go back to all the classics.
Trade them for what matters.
They can't get rid of them though. There's no way to get rid of a mile-and-a-half super speedway racetrack that has seating for 100,000 people. No one's gonna buy
Make a
that
point
without a NASCAR contract.
Well, they might buy it for real estate development.
The only people who will buy them is what happens at Nashville Super Speedway, where they just put brand new cars waiting to go to dealerships inside, just as a storage
or they
facility.
Use it for a commercial shoot venue or something like that.
Yeah, and for people to go drifting at.
Yeah,
that's all they use Nashville for.
F in the chat.
But
F in the chat for Nashville Super Speedway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can give them Nashville Fairgrounds. That would be the best substitute for North Wilkesboro.
They're wanting to pair that with the new Nashville MLS stadium that they're planning to make a combo with. But back to North Wilkesboro. In Junior's conversation with the president of iRacing, he was asking, do you want to make this back in '96, the last time it was raced there, or
a ghost track,
or a ghost track? And Junior's because I want to keep all the bumps. I want it to feel like what it feels like right now. He's like, well, it's a little more to it than that, because we'd have to get rid of everything.
They should just do both.
Yeah,
or they could go in between where it has the bumps, but the track isn't as abrasive. I'm guessing the track is super abrasive right now.
Yeah, it's not
half-inch gaps in the concrete where you got
out
of. You can't race on
Holly Frost chicken farms or whatever on the side still, but it's not confirmed yet. But the idea is if they're gonna put this much money into it, what if they just renovated the place? Yeah, I think that idea was brought up in the last episode. What? A bit. Yeah, what if they actually fixed up the place to where it wouldn't have NASCAR sanctioned events yet, but it would have racing back at the place they did a few years ago.
I think Dale Jr.
Some guys to win a late model race.
Get more people winning late model races.
Get some more guys. Get some Garrett Smithley's winning late model races at North Wilkesboro, and we'll have so many lap cars.
because we all know North Wilkesboro, like fans want North Wilkesboro back, and like the community would really embrace that. And I think that race would be an easy sellout.
See, the trouble with those places and the reason that they did fall the way they did, one of the reasons they fall the way they did, like The Rock and North Wilkesboro, is that they're not on a main interstate road.
Yeah.
So like they're way out there, and that's just the way they were formed. And like these newer tracks, they all are not too far from the exit.
Well,
Look at Bristol. Yeah, look at Richmond. Oh, Richmond may not even be off the exit, but
Martinsville's kind of out in the middle.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, there's like some
tracks still
are.
Pocono's out in the middle of the
place,
right?
Those still survived.
Yeah,
some tracks are like out in the middle. Like Road America's not. Road America's probably like an hour away from not an hour away, but like it's not. It's kind of far from an interstate.
Yeah, I guess there's no excuse then. Yeah. They were just saying a probable reason, I guess. But
well, it's just because NASCAR boomed and they didn't think that it was going.
They didn't think it's ever going to go back down. So
yeah, they didn't think that it was going to go back down from their boom.
They didn't have that 20-year.
They didn't have a
20-year plan.
They were like, wow, all this money.
I mean, to be honest, if NASCAR's in anywhere right now, it's where IndyCar was in, or they're going towards where IndyCar was. To be honest, it's almost like post-split. They're almost in like IndyCar 2000 area.
That's a good sign.
Hopefully this is like the bottom, and maybe when they introduce the Gen 7 car, it just kind of starts to bring the incline up.
Kicking Brian France out was the first step in the healing process, and bringing Steve Phelps in, a guy that's actually at the track, and Mike Helton actually coming to the track and talking to the fans and the drivers and everything. It's still really nice to have that happen. Yeah, so North Wilkesboro, hope it comes back. Hope we can get on iRacing at least and have it in the maybe as like the all-star race for the Peak Antifreeze series. That'd be kind of cool.
Speaking of that, they are broadcasting the championship finale live on NBC Sports Network.
Is that today?
That's going to be a few weeks from now.
I'm sorry, the what series? I didn't hear you.
NASCAR Peak.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series,
or the
world
Peak
NASCAR. Yeah,
it's their championship.
It's the world championship. Yeah,
okay. It's a mouthful. It's the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series.
Broadcasted by Evan Pasoko
on RaceSpot TV.
On RaceSpot TV.
Yeah, it's either on RaceSpot TV or it will be on. The finale is going to be on NBC Sports Network, which will be the first time the series is on it. Besides the All-Star races they've done,
and you'll have Steve Letarte and Parker Kligerman, both team owners in the series, talking about it as it's going on.
Yeah, and kind of interrupting Evan, but
Okay, so Roval coming up. IndyCar season is done. Joseph Newgarden's the champion. Also, Petit Le Mans coming up in October at Road Atlanta. I plan to talk about that a little bit after that weekend. And Formula One, where's the next stop?
I know the European season is over. Yeah, I believe the next Grand Prix is the Russian Grand Prix, which will be this weekend in Sochi. And then they'll pretty much Sochi.
That's where the Olympics were, right? Winter Olympics.
That's pretty cool. We should
it's
get
in the Olympics.
in the Olympics.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, speaking of
IROC in the Olympics.
Not even like any kind of certain discipline. Just like get a bunch of different famous drivers and put them on like go-karts.
For Team USA.
Yeah, get like 4 people from each.
Really cheap, like really cheap go-karts, like bare bones.
Yeah, like
because all it takes is driver skill.
Like a rental spot, you know.
Yeah.
They could
go to Speedway,
race the champion style that they've done.
Go to Sarah Fisher's joint. That's where you have the Olympics.
Back to eNASCAR real quick. They do have a race tonight because it is Tuesday night. It is going to be the final race of the playoff. Well, the final race of the playoffs before the finale.
Are they at Homestead for their finale?
They will be at the Charlotte Roval tonight.
Oh, okay. That's definitely something to see.
So it will be the cutoff race before the championship finale.
Who's leading the points right now? Is it Alfala or Conti or?
I don't think Alfala even made the playoffs, to be honest.
Ooh. He's one of the original dudes. Like,
Yeah, he's
2008.
the most decorated driver in.
Yeah.
They've been doing this since 2008.
Yes.
I think
iRacing's
it's
been
since
online since
2010 they've had the
2008.
World Championship.
Yeah, the World Championship started
Yeah.
Wow.
2011. And Dale Jr. was part of that first class.
Cool.
Yeah.
Currently, wow. So out of the playoff standings, it is Keegan Leahy, Zach Novak, Garrett Lowe, and Blake Reynolds are the four that are locked in. That are in right now. None of the playoff drivers have won a race in the. None of the playoff drivers have won a playoff race yet.
Well, it'll be nice to see
all
that.
spots are open.
It'll be nice to see that back chicane in use before we actually see it in real life.
And then also Ryan Michael Luza, Michael Conti, Jimmy Mullis, and Bobby Selensky are the drivers below the cutoff right now. I think the top four have a 13-point gap from fourth to fifth.
I actually got to commentate on a race that Bobby Zelensky was in the Nork series. I didn't actually get to interview him, though. I never got a chance to interview him, but
Interesting.
that's how close I've gotten to a peak driver so
I
far.
mean, I've talked to like Logan Clampett used to do,
Yeah. He was in Nork too, I think.
Yeah, he used to do like back in the day when I was a kid, we played like Roblox, and I think he did too. And he used to do like Roblox racing, which was a thing, which was probably like the best racing because there was no dirty air, just a bunch of lag. But I think he used to do that, so we actually talked to him. Like I used to talk to him, and so now seeing that he's in Peak Antifreeze series is really cool. And he's talked about how like just racing with that, all the guys are like they're good with each other, have a pretty good bond, and it's just awesome to see. He was really excited about this year, that the schedule is being longer to 18 races instead of 16 with the playoffs too. So
we'll tell him to remember the rest of us down here. I think we were well over an hour, so let's go ahead and close this one up, guys. So,
All right.
We'll see you guys back here next week for the Roval, and it's going to be a big shakeup as we see the round of 12 drivers and such.
Probably.
So, thank you for watching another episode of the Get Bumped podcast, and be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and let us know what you think about all our opinions. And if you hate anything we said, be sure to be angry and just type away. Let us know about it. And we'll see you guys next week.
Go Jimmy.
Jimmy J.
Go, Jimmy. Okay.